Welcome to the Force Pro Sports ZAP report, day two. Day two. Welcome. It's me. I'm doing kind of a real ZAP report. All right, Random Draw 2026 is almost over. It's only a 3-day event. Today is going to be the final day. So we're going to go over quick takes, daily storylines, and personal stories and stuff like that. So let me share my screen with you right off the bat because we'll be doing a good amount of that today. Share this window. All right. So first thing I'll say is, unfortunately, I will not be able to do most of the general stuff I would normally do because yesterday's games were not uploaded. This is not a calling out of Joe. I actually want to take this moment to really thank Joe and Gabe, who Sergeant Tucker, Joe, has not been playing games. He's just been running the tournament, which you should really please go thank him for what he's doing. He is an absolute blessing and an asset to our community. He is doing everything in his power to keep this thing running smoothly. And Gabe has also just been absolutely killing it as our full-time tech support, stream creator, and our personal site lead. Want to thank Beans, by the way, for the awesome lighting that has been going up in the arena. If you guys are seeing this, like, oh my gosh, the game is becoming more straight up interactive than I've ever seen it be, which is, I think, better. The way that like the game is easier to tell what's happening as time goes on. Like now when the nukes are going off, all the lighting goes dim, which I have a little bit of concern with because that's probably the most that's the most likely time for dangerous plays is when a nuke is going off. People are rushing past each other. But it's very epic looking. And then all the lighting, the explosion when it happens. I think it adds a lot experientially to the game. So definitely thank you, Beans, for that. Also, this is when Luke loses his script. And also, thank you, Simply Okay and Sabo, John, and Corbin, for, I believe it was you two, for hot fixing Blue Base. I know we're going to go back and redo it, make it look a little nicer, but they were in there early yesterday putting up big boards so that you couldn't shoot from the top floor down into at least the right part of Blue Base, which made Blue Base, frankly, a lot more defensible and viable as an option. And my team had some fun time down there yesterday when we were pushed down. So, and yes, I just used fun to describe getting pushed down in Loveland. Not accurate. Anyways, that being said, normally I would review the team rankings and the top in every position. We only have yesterday's rankings. I'm not even going to show them. Just things pretty much stayed the same. I believe Than in the Band and Turkey So Easy are competing for the top spot. I think it's Team Critical after that, Team Deck of Many Missiles, and then the bottom two teams are pretty firmly Team The House and Team Dorkness Rising. Top in each position, I just couldn't tell you. But we've had some pretty incredible spike games. And we'll talk about some game highlights here. Unfortunately, also, we do not have the live stream available. I just want you to know that I did spend 30 minutes this morning trying to hack into our Laserforce Tournament Twitch channel by looking at texts Beans sent me like 2 years ago to get the passwords. Because he's a responsible manager, there is two-step verification, and I was doing this, early in the morning during a tournament. So I do not have game highlights for you. We will get them. We will get them, and I will look at them, and we will talk about them. Unfortunately, we don't have that right now. So we're going to talk about some numbers and some storylines, and probably part of this is just going to end up being me talking a little about the theme I'm seeing. So I'll share this again. All right, first we have a game highlight. I'm going to highlight Slaughtermelon, who, not to be hot takey, but all throughout this tournament, Caleb has been able to do... he's been able to extremely outperform even his expectations, being someone in that first group, being near the top of that first group. Slaughtermelon has easily been, I think, the most valuable player of this tournament. He sets, we can see it right here, the all-time Loveland heavy weapons score record for heavy weapons. So 13,000 points on heavy. He does not have the opportunity to get nukes. 5 missiles, 105 shots, 9 medic hits, got missiled once, 90% accuracy. Absolutely insane. I do not mean to do my boy the Fear Turkey dirty by showing this. Just we gotta look at the hit diff. Pretty massive hit diff on Turkey, big hit diff on Shadow Dagger, just a positive hit diff on literally everyone, which is what you would expect when you are when you're scoring that kind of a game. And I think circumstances allow for these kind of things to happen. Like it looks like Ebo Mike got one of his nukes canceled, which puts more pressure on the rest of the team to make the game win happen. Extremely impressive. Congrats to Slaughtermelon. That is crazy. I will absolutely highlight my boy the Fear Turkey, though, for still putting up a nearly 30 MVP heavy game in spite of all this and getting 8 medic hits in his own right. Yeah, just want to shout him out because I don't think I would feel really crappy handing the record for heavy over to someone if I were on the other end of that. So that's just part of it. It's about celebrating the people that did get the success, not faulting the people that don't get the success. That's always the point when we're doing these kind of things. Okay, the player highlight. The player I'm gonna highlight is Lizzie Lizard. Lizzie Lizard has stood out to me very much. That particularly when I've seen her in one-hit roles in Scout in particular. I will tell you, like, I told her nothing. The first day I was tilted pretty bad by the end of the day, and I have my own stuff to work on. But to be honest, out of everything that happened, the number one thing that tilted me was Lizzie Lizard putting 3 into me while I'm looking directly at her multiple times while I was a 3 hit. And she's a scout. She is so good at, 1, being where people aren't noticing her, and 2, punishing you for not paying attention to her. So, like, if you look at her, she disappears, and she wastes your time. And when you look away, she is shooting you in the back 3 times. That is exceptional scout play. We're going to look at a few of her games because she has been absolutely killing it. Let's see. Now, this game, to be frank, I think the situation seems like it allowed for big scores. 3.5, 3.4, 5.4 hit diffs for the 1 hits on this team. So clearly, game script was allowing them to just fish in a barrel. Fair enough, but still, Lizzie Lizard top scoring with 23-2 on Fire Sword, 9-3 on Carson, 15-6 on Brahmatized, 7-2 on Ammo. Like, ridiculous numbers. Absolutely. We can also look here. We have another one, a little more of an even game script. Comes out as a second MVP on the team with a 7,000 scout score, 1.61 hit diff. Shoot, I'm gonna look at that Disco Monkey 12 medic hits in a moment. So definitely keeping Sweets occupied, punishing Rook, 15-7. Definitely 9-2 on DK is not an easy feat. He's a pretty aware guy. And then, sheesh, Disco Monkey with 12 medic hits. What on earth? That is insanity. And none of them were missiles either. He just got in Raiden GL's face and got 12 medic hits. That's nuts. Way to go, Disco Monkey. Goodness. I mean, this whole team's been really good. Just to comment on them, I mean, I don't think they really have any weak links. Like, they've synergized really well. They've worked really well together. I think it's partially like, well, okay, Slaughtermelon talked about it. Like, Slaughtermelon, Odin's Fist, and Disco Monkey have been on a team together like multiple times. This is half of the Goon Squad from like the Utah Point buy that won it. So they have really good synergy kind of built into this system, which really works in their favor. They've played really synergistically. Let's see. I think I had one more for the... sorry. Have I been calling her... She's going by the Lizzler, by the way. I'm just kind of continuing to call her Lizzie Lizard. The Lizzler, which is so good. Ammo Carrier this game. I was watching this one, and I think she was being very good at being responsibly out in the field, but also ready to aim back and help her team when needed. I saw her turn and put down the heavy a couple times when they were storming in. Just very responsible play, not needing to put up a huge number this time, but getting high hit diffs really adds to your score while not giving it away to the enemy team. And that's how you win a hit diff game. This one was elimination, so it didn't matter in the end, but still. Yeah. Lizzie, yeah, Lizzie is amazing. I I don't know. The truth is, I'm sitting here thinking, what I want to say is, I think Lizzie deserves to be ranked much more highly. The reasons why that didn't happen, like, we'll get into that. Well, we'll get into rankings in general in a minute. But I didn't want to make this about comparison, and I know the ranks are kind of a weird thing, and I'll talk about that. But I want to say publicly, like, I think she was absolutely underranked. Absolutely. Liz, I think you were underranked. Okay, the team highlight: Than and the band. So I just got this screenshot. Only has the day one, but here are your 6 players: Selly B, Old Man Thanatos, Chaser, Sabo, Ender, Snuffles. I believe they're the top seed. They are a heck of a team. I think they've just got. I think between the praise I've given Selly B for just performing at a really high level, Than being such a stabilizing force and being able to play anything and synergize with his team well. Chaser, who was complaining, I don't want to say complaining. He recognized to me, like, he is not the player that goes out and carries the game. He's really synergistic and teamwork oriented, and I'm like, dude, that's how you win games. Players need to support the team and play around each other. Sabo has absolutely popped off. He has been nothing but incredible almost every game. Ender being just certainly one of the most, like, quick learning and talented players that I'm seeing at the tournament. And Snuffles, of course, a legend, the legend. This team has been scary to fight on every front. I think one of their strengths is that there's a lot of lineups that work in their favor and not many lineups that don't work in their favor, which is a good thing to have on a random draw team. Plus, just their, like, I don't see any toxicity or lack of trying on this team. I think everyone's really putting in the sweat. So they have earned their wins, and they're the team highlight so far. All right. I will, let's see, stop sharing the screen there. We'll come back to the close-up on me. Hello. Sorry, you have to look at that. All right, storyline. It's called My Favorite Storyline. It's not like a... Let me get a drink of water on this one. I don't call it a favorite storyline. I just think it's the most prominent storyline. The storyline is ego. So, ego meaning that we all have an ego, we all wrestle with it. I really love the analogy that that the Greek philosopher Plato used. He said the human mind is kind of like a chariot. The charioteer is your logical mind with your morals and your high-level thoughts. And the chariot is ran by 2 horses. I believe one is basically your ego and the other is like your animal instinct. And, like, they are pulling you in all kinds of crazy directions. The ego is like, it's all about you. Kids develop an ego when they're like 2 or 3. The world is all revolving around them. And ego is kind of that voice that's like, I'm going to show them how good I am. I need to prove how good I am. I want to be better than that person. Or it may even come from a place of deficit, like, if I don't win this game, it proves how much of a loser I am, or how I'm not good enough, and I'm never good enough. And, like, it can go deeply personal as well. Just some general examples of ways it can show up. So anyway, the idea is that I've seen ego. I've seen ego because I've seen some players trying to prove pretty hard that they belong and higher in the rankings than where they were put. And for some players, I'm seeing them accepting that maybe they thought they should be ranked higher, but they were actually ranked somewhat appropriately. Or perhaps they now believe that they should have been ranked lower than where they are. The truth is that, like, in a healthy mindset, we don't need to compare ourselves to other people. everyone at this tournament has equal value. No one's above another person. But ego is that it's like cheap confidence. It's pride. It's like I'm only going to feel good about myself if the people around me appear worse than me, right? If I just like could magically snap my fingers and produce like 35 rusties to appear at this tournament, suddenly all of us would be in the final tier. You know what I mean? Or probably would be. Some maybe not, but still. So anyway, I want to share a couple stories because I've been dealing with my ego, and I think a lot of people in the tournament are also dealing with ego, and I just want to kind of, story time with mischief. All right. So I think it was back in like 2021. The St. George site was hosting a point buy tournament. The and so what that meant was that every player was given a price, and you had like an allotted budget to go and spend on the players to bring them onto your team. And it was out of 10. So I think like to buy Thunder, you needed to spend 10 of your currency on him. I was rated as a 6 out of 10. I remember that very vividly, that I was a 6 out of 10. And I also remember that Cody was ranked a 7 out of 10. And I felt really indignant about that because, from my perspective, Cody was much newer to the scene than me. I hadn't really seen him play very much. I was like, comparing myself to other people, I felt really insecure about it. And if I'm really honest, I was so butthurt about it that it was one of the reasons I didn't even think of coming to the tournament. And that kind of sucks. I think that's kind of a shitty attitude to have. But I'm a growing person. I'm learning, But it really it hurt my feelings, to be honest. I felt really indignant about it. Looking back now, I kind of see what they meant. I can see a case for me being a 7, but I can easily see a case for me being a 6. And I don't need to go into that. I don't need to. What I mean is I don't need to break down Mischief's skill set from 5 years ago. But when those people were saying that about me, that that's my value, there's probably some truth in that. Like, there's a reason people say that kind of thing about you. And if you're coming from a place of good self-esteem, it shouldn't bother you what you're being ranked. But part of my self-worth was being a good laser tag player. So it was pretty much being ranked at that level. It was basically them saying, Luke, we don't think you're a very valuable person in like a very unconscious way. Does that kind of make sense? If my personal worth is tied to my laser tag value, then if I have low laser tag value, I have low worth as a person. And that is a cognitive distortion. That is not a good way to think about it. So I kind of was haunted with the same problem, because I'm actually thankful that we don't have. I will say that right now, just for showing this, I'm kind of thankful that we don't have the updated rankings, because I want to just share, if we have the MVP from day 1, I'm ranked down at number 29 with a 12.75 average MVP. And being someone who is coming in that group 1 tier, my initial reaction was extreme embarrassment. I began having anxiety. I began imagining people going back to their Airbnbs or talking in their group chats and saying, wow, I think Mischief is washed. I don't think Mischief is good anymore. Or he's not good without being on with his A team. And you know what? If they said those things, there might be some truth to it. But I have a feeling that no one actually did that. I think that's just my 2 horses, in Plato's analogy, running wild because they're scared of something. And the logic brain, which says, my worth is not tied to my MVP. And by the way, MVP is not a very accurate measure of a player's value because of how highly it's tied to win ratio. And we won 1 out of 7 games in day 1. Okay, slow your roll. I need to get the charioteer back in charge. I can't just let the horses run wild. So, let's see. Sorry, I keep losing my spot. So anyway, yesterday I I see people dealing with ego. Some people kind of in that state of like feeling low on themselves or feeling puffed up, trying to prove how good they are. Totally understandable. This is sports. It's part of the game. I want to share two thoughts with you all. Two of the ways that I think I helped overcome it yesterday. So first of all, don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. This is just a really good quote reminding you that in every walk of life where we're running races, not everybody starts at the same starting point. You know what? I'm so sorry. I need to blow my nose. Entertain yourselves for 5 seconds. Yeah. Gosh, those podcasts that actually edit their stuff have such higher production value than me. Oh, see what I did there? Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. So in that context, if I feel bad about my editing style, rather than trying to tear down other people, I should just like get better at editing. You know, like I could compare myself to me because in life, everyone starts at different starting points. Like if life is a race, everyone has different starting points. Some people start further ahead than others. And also, like some people are walking, some people are on motorcycles, some people have jets, some people have to drag themselves on the ground. Like life is just not fair. That's just the nature of it. There's no way to make it completely fair. We're all doing the best with what we got. And that is why comparing yourself to others often really isn't fair to you. Like, if you were born in their shoes, or maybe in this tournament, if you swapped positions with somebody else and you had their situation, would you be doing the exact same? That's a good way to think about it. Also, the second thing I did yesterday, like, I went to my team and I talked about how I felt like I was disappointing them. And they were nothing but supportive. Dorkness Rising, you guys are you're my boys. Thank you so much for the week. It's been really good. I just recognized like I felt entitled to win because of my past success in the Loveland Arena, my most recent past success. I honestly felt like just being me was going to be enough for me to be able to defeat a lot of the players. I didn't even think this intentionally. I thought it unconsciously. And basically, one, I died out before my medic in a scout game, trying to do too much. And then in a different game, DK, scout versus scout, just bullied the heck out of me all game. And it was because I was just making dumb little mistakes. I was like not paying attention to him, and I was trying to like I was trying to think, oh, he won't notice if I run over here. Oh, he noticed, you know. So I enacted something called beginner's mind on myself. If you start learning a martial art, you walk in and you get the white belt. You are at the beginning. You are a beginner, and when you're in that stance, you view everyone around you as more experienced than you and like they have something valuable. Well, I kind of realized that I was playing with ego and that I needed to humble myself. Okay? I was preaching to my team, play with the basics, like remember the basics. I was not following the basics. I felt above the basics. And that came from ego more than anything. Entitlement. I went back to basics and I began doing a lot better. Like, look, just hold big box. That's a good spot to stand. Go hold big box. And I started holding big box and like, great, my scout play massively improved. And every time like teammates messed up, we were like, hey, look, here's the basic fundamental thing. Like that went wrong. And with all my team, like kind of having a beginner's mind, they were open to feedback that actually made them better players rather than feeling like really butthurt about not being as good as they want to be. My team's actually improving. They're actually getting to where they want to be. We had some very close games. Our day two, I think, was better than our day one by a lot. At least the second half of day two, for sure. So, um, don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to yourself yesterday and enact beginner's mind. I think are two great ways to counter the ego. For all you who are trying to prove something and it's not working, or you're trying to accept where you're at, you are completely valuable. You're loved in this community. We're not going to accept any kind of bullying or abusive behavior from anybody towards you for your level of play or for just who you are. Like, everyone is valuable and welcome in our community. That is, like, I and many others would die on that hill. And we have. People have absolutely stood up to make this scene a more welcoming and accepting place. We need to keep that. We all need to fight for that. Okay. Um yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I have the game to watch today and the closer than expected prediction, then I'll wrap up here. The game to watch today, I want to give it to, we're going to have Turkey So Easy versus Than the Band. This will be Caleb's team versus Dallin's team. I believe these are the number 1 and 2 seeds. I heard them talking smack to each other, Caleb and Dallin. Like, they're competitive. They want to beat each other. I think they view this game as like whoever wins this game may win the tournament, quote unquote. And I say that because it's like it's a random draw. We're not going crazy. This trophy won't mean a ton, but Turkey So Easy versus Than the Band, and they're just going at it. That's kind of the big game. I think that we can treat that as potentially our finals. Which, by the way, if for those of you who don't know, I don't think we're doing finals. I think we're just finishing out round play, and then we're going to do socials the rest of the night. And my closer than expected prediction, I'm going to go with the house versus the deck of many missiles. The house has taken a bit of a fall yesterday, versus the deck of many missiles has won a few more games than the house. So it feels like there's a bit of a tier break now. The truth is the house has been missing one of their players, and they have been just trying to figure out their stride. I was fortunate. I was lucky to like get to kind of talk with some of them and hear what's going on in their team, and like watch them be part of a conversation where they were really figuring out like, how do we work together better, essentially. I can tell you from my end, like, Darkness Rising, we all truly feel we're getting better every game because we're talking. And the house, if they're coming in and they're doing that as well, I think we are underestimating a lot of those players. And also, deck of many missiles. Beans was out yesterday. He's coming back today. So he's lacking a little bit of practice there. And unfortunately, they had an injury. So they may be subbing in somebody. This might be a situation where the house is able to gain some organization on their team and the deck of many missiles may be a little less organized. So I think it'll be closer than expected. We're kind of expecting deck of many missiles to beat them 2-0, but I bet we might even get a 1-for-1 in that game, or in that match. Okay, this concludes the ZAP report. Good luck to all the teams and players today. Thank you all you who are not here, who are watching and cheering in the Twitch stream. And hopefully we can get more of a full layout of everything coming up soon. So y'all take care.